What is Nisp? What is SDIS? Why should I care? This video will answer those questions in a brief overview. If you prefer the detailed version, you can find a link to all 1,500 pages on our website. Nisp is the Northern Integrated Supply Project. It is a regional water supply project proposed by Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District, Northern Water, to meet a portion of the current and projected future needs of 15 towns and water districts in northern Colorado. SDIS is Supplemental Draft Environmental Impact Statement. It is an environmental impact statement because it discloses direct, indirect, and cumulative environmental impacts of the proposed project. It is a draft because the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Corps, will consider comments from the public and federal and state agencies before a final EIS is prepared. It is supplemental because it contains additional analysis since the first draft Nisp EIS was issued in 2008. For instance, it incorporates a new common technical platform for EIS consistency between Nisp and other proposed projects, such as the Halligan and Seaman Reservoir expansion projects. Why all the bother? The National Environmental Policy Act requires agencies like the Corps to assess the environmental effects of proposed actions prior to making decisions about them, for better informed decisions and citizen involvement. The Corps started the EIS process when Northern Water applied for a Clean Water Act Section 404 permit to build the project, because waters of the U.S. would be affected. Others involved in the process include federal agencies like the Bureau of Reclamation, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, state agencies like Colorado Departments of Transportation, Natural Resources, Public Health, and Environment, and local government like Larimer County. What does the Nisp SDIS cover? The SDIS comes in 2 volumes, 7 chapters, and a set of appendices. Here's what it covers: purpose and need for the proposed project, whether there are any other alternatives to meet the purpose and need that would be less environmentally damaging but still practical or feasible from a technical and economic standpoint, what alternatives were considered, and the alternatives selected for analysis. The areas studied, including breaking up the Poudre into 6 separate segments from the mouth of the Poudre Canyon to Greeley. Potential environmental effects, including cumulative effects. Some of those studied are river flows and sediment transport, water quality, wetlands, riparian resources, and aquatic biological resources, wildlife and endangered species, land use, traffic, noise and air quality, cultural, historical, and paleontological resources. Measures that might be taken to avoid, minimize, and compensate for effects to these key environmental resources. What are the major parts of the Northern Integrated Supply Project? The project would deliver water to the 15 participating entities by using Northern Water's existing water rights to divert water from the Poudre River at the Poudre Valley Canal, constructing Glade Reservoir to store about 170,000 acre-feet of water, and constructing a new Gailton Reservoir to store about 46,000 acre-feet of water. The project would require rerouting a 7-mile segment of U.S. Highway 287. What other alternatives did the Corps consider? An environmental impact statement can analyze only those alternatives that meet the purpose and need as stated by the project applicant, and that are practical or feasible from a technical and economic standpoint. The Corps screened all of the alternatives that came out of the 2008 public comment process and dropped out of consideration those they determined did not meet that criteria. Alternatives that did pass the screening process are acquiring and transferring agricultural water rights combined with building a different reservoir called Cactus Hill, build Cactus Hill and Gailton reservoirs, using exchanges to divert some of the water downstream instead of all at the Poudre Valley Canal, combined with Cactus Hill and Gailton. I have heard that building Nisp will hurt the environment. I have also heard that not building Nisp will hurt agriculture. What does the SDIS say about these claims? The Nisp SDIS does not directly answer those broad questions, but here are some commonly asked questions and some statements from the SDIS that pertain to them. Question: if the project is built, Will it negatively affect Poudre River flows? SDIS. The project as proposed would reduce flows through Fort Collins during the irrigation season. Peak flows would be reduced primarily in May and June in years with average to above average flows. A low flow augmentation program will release water from Glade Reservoir to help maintain flows through Fort Collins. Question: could temporary rotational fallowing leases of agriculture water prevent permanent dry up of ag lands while providing the water cities need instead of building the project? SDIS. The Corps found that the rotational fallowing concept has not progressed to the point of being considered a proven technology, since there are currently no large-scale rotational fallowing programs in Colorado. That doesn't really answer my question about harm to the environment with Nisp or harm to agriculture without Nisp. For instance, I have heard that two prominent local environmental groups believe there are viable alternatives to a new reservoir, such as conservation. I'm glad you brought that up. It gives me a chance to point out that both proponents of projects and opponents of projects have concerns about NEPA's environmental impact statement process. Some say the process is too regimented and doesn't allow for full exploration of options like conservation and managing growth. That it doesn't allow for creative options to meet needs beyond what has traditionally been considered. One concern is that an EIS doesn't directly answer questions the public wants to know. Most don't have time to read 1,500 pages to form their own opinions. Many consider the time and money the process takes to be extravagant. Still, the NEPA EIS process is the tool mandated by the federal government for exhaustively examining proposed projects and all their impacts, and for assuring that the public has an opportunity to share their viewpoints. What happens next? The Corps will listen to, read, and respond to public comment. Key agencies will review the SDIS in light of their permitting requirements. Northern Water will finalize its proposed comprehensive mitigation plan. The Corps will issue a final EIS. The Corps will issue its record of decision, including mitigation requirements that must be met for it to issue the Section 404 permit. What is the public's role in this decision? The public does not have decision-making power as to whether the project will be permitted. However, the public can learn about the project and share their opinions based on their own understanding of the issues. Public comment was taken at two public meetings, July 22nd in Fort Collins and July 23rd in Greeley, and written comments taken by the Corps until September 3rd. Go to our website for details about public input and links to the full Nisp SDIS as well as a PDF of the summary.